2. Test, test, 1, 2. Helpful advice. Make sure you unmute yourself before you stream. Good evening, and welcome to my first stream of The Sinking City, a Lovecraftian action-adventure detective game for the PC. This is the first thing I've streamed in quite a while, actually. Let's see here. This game was released in June of 2019. It was developed by Frogwares, a Ukrainian studio best known for their series of very good Sherlock Holmes games, which are another thing I have been meaning to stream for quite some time. So, depending on how this goes, we'll see if we can ever get around to that. I call this a double A title. It's known for being somewhat janky, but also being very passionate about the source material and about its themes. Now, one of the interesting things of the development of this game, though, is that a company that Frogwares was working with, apparently at some point they started using the company's IP without permission, forgetting to pay them for certain things, and the problems got bad enough that eventually the game was delisted from Steam and a couple of other sources. Thankfully, it is still up on a few places. I got mine from Games Planet, as you can see down here, and apparently that means it's also DRM free, which is very good if you are worried about that sort of thing. So without further ado, let us begin. Oh good, this game involves a mind palace. Test 1 2. Okay, that works. I'm still somewhat new to streaming, so you'll forgive me if it takes me a while to get my audio balance correct. And to make sure my gamma is balanced and everything, since this is partially a horror game, so there is likely a lot of darkness that I will have to compensate for. Well, we are getting right into it there, aren't we? The audio on that cutscene was also desynced for me. I'm not quite sure what caused that, but hopefully it will not be a problem here. Let me just test something here really quick. Um, here, here. Okay, seems like everything is all nice, the audio is all nice and synced back up. Um, so, here is our player character, whose name I have already managed to forget. But it seems he's been having some of the old one derived nightmares, which normally I would chide him for being a little bit slovenly looking, but unfortunately I know exactly what not getting enough sleep, how badly that can mess up your routine. I do wish he would adjust his tie, though. And he got his little flashlight there, presumably from the same place every horror protagonist buys their little L-shaped flashlight. He's got a fedora, but don't judge him for it. This takes place, I guess, in the later 1920s, so everybody is wearing one. Looks like we've got a shovel and nice fur collar. Apparently you can also change your clothes in this game, which I will probably spend much more time on it than is really warranted. So, let's see what we've got here so far. This is a completely blind playthrough, by the way, so hopefully you can forgive me if things are a little bit awkward now and then. Oh look, here is what our mind palace looks like. My mind palace also has dead fish and bits of newspaper floating in it. The clues and deductions system is something that I believe got carried over from the Sherlock Holmes games. I believe I mentioned the developers Frogwares are most well known for. So we'll see what sort of creative things they do with that. Let's see what our main case even is. What our side case is. Oh, this must be like our mission screen here, and we don't really have anything yet. We do not know anything about this city. We have never sent a letter in our life. We have never read a book in our life. We have never seen an animal in our life. And we, like a reasonable person would, do not know anything about the Lovecraft mythos. Oh good, they're skill trees. Let's try not to devote too much attention to this. Looks like we don't have any points so far anyways. When playing these sorts of games, I tend to do the... I tend to select the skills that increase your health before anything else. We do not know anything about where we are. We have got a first aid kit. Army issue first aid kit. And no crafting materials. Let's just enjoy these zeros before we start cramming every random bit of junk into our pocket throughout the entire game. And we'll avoid how to play for now. Oh look, a gun. Guess that's what we'll go for first. This looks like a lower poly Browning high power, I guess?
Hope I never have to use it. But something tells me I will.
Huh, but it is chambered in 38. That's interesting. Oh, and we have bricks. Cool. Like all great detectives, I guess our guy here must just carry a brick around with him at all times. Oh, I guess you have to hold that. Oh look, our first crafting materials. Looks like we've got here... Is that the state flag of wherever we are? And something more suspicious looking. I think I would have liked to have this on my college dorm room wall. What do we have here? Letter from J. Vanderberg to Mr. Charles Reed. I guess that is us. As you requested, I've researched the outbursts of hysteria and visions in the city of Oakmont, Massachusetts. Oh, so it's a fictional city in a actual state. It turns out that your assumptions were correct. Such cases are indeed more frequent here. Men and women from across the country are drawn to Oakmont, haunted by visions similar to yours. A city drowning, the presence of something great, yet unknown. As luck has it, I believe we have stumbled upon the source of your ailment, and the people who might help you with it. Prepare yourself, then come to Oakmont as soon as you can. I will meet you here to help you on your way. Cordially, Johannes Vanderberg. I'm searching my very limited knowledge of the Lovecraft canon, the Lovecraft mythos, for Johannes Vanderberg or Charles Reed, and I'm not recalling anything. Casebook contains your main case. Work on more than one side cases at the same time. Forms of evidence, etc., etc. So C is for our case, and here we find this letter. Interesting. Looks like we can pin evidence in things as well, which I suppose means that this will have actually fairly in-depth detective mechanics. I like how Chuck here will occasionally just suddenly look over his shoulder if you turn the camera around. I already get the feeling he's a bit of a haunted individual. His nose looks a little bit rosy there. Oh, don't worry, Chuck. You're under my expert care. What is this thing? Oh, it's a camera. It looks like one of those old folding Kodiaks. How is that evidence, though? Oh, it looks like we can use this as an item. Interesting. It's an interesting squid there. It looks like... yeah, it's got the camera symbol on it, and when I aim at it... photo of a trophy plate. Did that wind up in our inventory somehow? Trophy with a strange fish. Looks very lifelike. Ugh. What's this? Oakmont Monolith National Park.
Never trust a tourist advertisement.
That does not look like the sort of place I'd want to set up a camp, no. Oh, we got all the evidence from our little bunker here. Bunk room. To Oakmont via Panama. Well, this is in Lovecraft country, isn't it? That's kind of a journey there. Oh, it looks like we can swap between a jog and a run. And also a somewhat half-hearted sprint there. You're going to need to sprint better than that in order to escape the horrors of the Cthulhu mythos there, Chuck. We're going to have to do some calisthenics with you. Hi there.
Now get out.
Okay. Ooh, this guy is wearing a very old-fashioned life vest. Those are actually bits of cork.
Now get out. Now get out.
At last, Mr. Charles Reed. What a pleasure to finally meet you in the flesh.
Nice to meet you.
Johannes Vanderberg, at your
Test 1 2.
service. I did promise to meet you the moment you arrived.
Ah, much obliged, Mr. Vanderberg. I guess I didn't expect you to mean so literally.
Please call me Johannes. But where are my manners? Welcome to the proud city of Oakmont. Alas, now is not its finest hour, though it is its most important.
What a fascinatingly cryptic thing to say. Well, let's make a good impression first off and compliment his suit.
That's an eye-catching suit.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. A mere flood is no excuse for one to abandon one's style.
I take it you're a big fan of yellow.
Well, I have a particular weakness for it. Call it a personal quirk.
Now, as I mentioned, my knowledge of the Lovecraft canon is a little bit hazy, but I have a bad feeling about a man who dresses entirely yellow, especially when the narrative draws attention to it.
Reaching Oakmont was no easy task. Most maps I found didn't mark it, and this rickety packet ship is the only one that sailed here. Why is that?
Oakmont is no ordinary place. Its unique geographical position and the flood, a recent natural disaster, make it nigh impossible to reach. But you made it, Mr. Reed. I'm sure the tides of fate would have brought you here one way or another.
What another incredibly cryptic thing to say.
Tell me about this flood.
It began 6 months ago. Storms raged for several weeks, and the water has risen ever higher without receding. Now the city is cut off from the mainland. I must say I rather like it, despite the inconvenience. Atmosphere, you know?
I always like games with dialogue systems like this, where if you just don't select anything, you have the characters just sort of aberrantly staring at each other for a while. Kind of how I conduct my conversations.
You said you know someone who can help me with my problem. The visions have been getting worse.
Such vividness of dreams is not uncommon here in Oakmont. By chance, the man I spoke of, Robert Throgmorton, is already at the port. He has dedicated a lot of time and effort to investigate this issue. Alas, I fear he has a more pressing matter on his hands.
How can I find Mr. Throgmorton?
Don't worry, you can't miss him. Throgmorton tends to stand out from the crowd.
Can you tell me a little about Mr. Throgmorton?
A remarkable creature. Scion of a robust bloodline. A philanthropist, a scholar, and the patron of the famous Oakmont University. A man of great ambitions and even greater ego. Do not make him wait.
I'll need a place to lay my head while I'm here. Any recommendations?
Fear not. I've already feathered a nest for you. There's a room in your name at the Devil's Reef Hotel. Here's the key.
Sounds charming.
Don't judge a book by its cover, Mr. Reed.
Now, I do know the Devil's Reef is a reference to The Shadow over Innsmouth, Lovecraft's one of his most famous stories, which I reread recently in preparation for this. And no, that doesn't sound terribly welcoming. Although I will say, The Shadow over Innsmouth is a very fun story to do a antagonistic reading of. But I'll talk about that more later.
What's the best way to get around Oakmont? I'd like to drop my things at the hotel.
Most locals go by foot or by boat. I've got the latter sorted for you. There's one waiting outside the port.
You're too kind, Johannes. Can you steer me towards the Devil's Reef?
Take this map. I've marked the hotel and a few other key places.
Other places? Like what?
You're a private eye, yes? Well, I've highlighted the police station, city archive, newspaper, places you'll need to get to the truth. This city is insular, its ways mysterious. No one will take you by the hand, so you better know where to turn in search of a lead.
How do you fill your days, Mr. Vanderberg?
I host a philosophy club for the like-minded intelligentsia, gathering seeds of thought like moths drawn to a flame.
Does Oakmont really have much of a market for philosophy these days?
There is no consciousness without pain, Mr. Reed. No better moment for clarity than times of hardship.
Actually, can kind of respect that. Well,
Well, that's it for now, I think. Thanks for helping me get my bearings.
No, no. The pleasure was mine, Mr. Reed.
Oh, before you go, how can I get in touch with you later?
Don't worry about that. I'm the kind of man who finds it.
let's see. Map. Street names and districts are shown on the map from the beginning, so their landmarks have to be discovered. One thing I did read about this game is that it does not use any kind of waypointing system. It's one of those more old-fashioned types of games where characters will straight up give you directions, which I can see some people being very impatient about, but I think that's actually very interesting. It's a good way to make sure you connect with the setting more. Okay, so it does show green means we've investigated something and found everything. Looks like we can mark it up. Is that guy fishing? Or, huh, that's interesting. Key to a room at the Devil's Reef. Person in the Oakmont by the name of Robbie Throgmorton. Now, before we do anything, let's just see if I can't end the entire plot here.
Is that a gun? Or do you just want a handshake?
I like that they managed that, yeah.
Point that at me again, and I'll stick it where the sun don't shine.
Oh, I'm gonna have to be pointing a gun at every single NPC I can find at this point.
Is that a gun? Or do you just want a handshake?
Well, he wears all yellow, but he doesn't seem to have pretensions of royalty, so I guess we can trust him for the time being.
We'll meet again, Mr. Reed.
Oh, I'm sure we will. I like this kind of military-looking backpack we've got. Oh, that's a good sign. One thing you should know about me is that I'm very interested in material culture, material history, particularly in the 1920s, so I'll be taking a close look at all the stuff the machines and appliances we find in this game. Now, who just leaves a perfectly good octopus component just lying on the dock like that? No wonder the city is sinking. Looks like some sort of barge over there. Not actually sure if anything says exactly what year this takes place in. Well, I'm sure we'll find out sooner or later. Well, I know fishermen tend to have their little rituals, but it seems a little excessive. Let's just take a nice little walk along the docks. Don't think health and safety inspectors are much of a thing in the old 1920s here. Let's not trip over any event flags when we're not meant to. Don't want to start anything prematurely. Hi there, friend. Yeah, I'd wear a life vest pretty much all the time too if I lived in this city. Oh, here's an interesting looking machine. Looks like some sort of early fire engine, actually.
I don't care about your petty excuses. No one leaves the port until my son is found, and that is final.
Excuse me. Are you Robert Throgmorton?
I am, but not interested. Go away.
The name's Charles Reed. I'm a private investigator, just arrived from Boston. I was told you might be able to help me.
Private investigator, you say? Well, perhaps we can help each other.
Like this guy's voice actor. I'm gonna turn my mic down here slightly since it looks like it's getting in the red. Still trying to figure out how to balance this stuff. Wow, that's certainly direct. Normally I'd avoid this, but I get the feeling this is meant to be some sort of exposition here.
Please forgive the question, but I've never met a man quite like you before.
That's because no man measures up to the Throgmorton lineage. Proud and powerful blood flows through our veins. My father united with a certain royal family, which has blessed all our offspring with these exquisite features.
Well, if he's looking for his son, I guess that'll make finding him easy.
I've heard you're the man to speak to about visions, outbreaks of hysteria. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it myself.
Another newcomer with another problem. Yes, I know what you speak of.
Can I ask you a few questions?
How dare you? My son Albert is missing, and no one in this Innsmouth-ridden city will do a damn thing. But yes, let's talk about your dreams.
Actually dropped Innsmouth by name there. It's kind of unclear to me at this point what aspects of the Lovecraft canon mythos are actually in the public domain or not. I do know that these guys are. This is apparently mostly a what would you call it? Oh dear, I got quite distracted there. Yes, I believe this is mostly a sorry, I get distracted by the stream manager there. Um, Mostly original content here, but I guess they can mention Innsmouth by name. Wonder if I notice any other stuff as we go along here.
If I may ask, what happened to your son?
Why do you care? What's your angle, outsider?
Well, like I said, I'm a PI. Finding people is kind of my specialty.
Is it? Well, Albert was part of a deep-sea expedition I commissioned. This useless fool over here says he found Albert washed ashore in a lifeboat. Says he was barely conscious, out of his mind, talking gibberish in some other language. But he even tried to bite him.
And you don't believe him?
Complete malarkey. I know my Albert. I raised him strong and smart, the best of his kind. It couldn't have been him. Albert's disappearance is the work of Innsmouthers, mark my words.
I take it you're not the biggest fan of these Innsmouthers.
Those fish-faced freaks have overrun this city since the police burned Innsmouth to the ground. But now, those filthy migrants occupy half this damn city. The port, Grimhaven Bay, Salvation Harbor, the Shells, they are everywhere.
So they're just refugees.
Hardly. They've taken work from the local fishermen. They stir and agitate against us, the Throgmorton family. We are the pillar of this community, not to mention that crime rates have skyrocketed. Simply speaking, they are a big stinking pile of trouble.
Now this is interesting. I know that Lovecraft tended to use humans with simian features, sort of like his unlikely friend Robert E. Howard, tended to use that to indicate a certain, what I guess they'd call a degeneracy, a certain evil descent. The reasons for this are obvious because they were all pretty racist. But in this game, they seem to have interpreted the corruption within this person as taking the form of him being a rich asshole who hates immigrants. I don't have much hope for seeing how subversive and generally interesting this take will be in terms of how it relates to the Lovecraft canon, but that's a good sign. Well, let's try and help this guy find his son anyways.
Mr. Throgmorton, let me help you. I'm rather good at tracking down missing people. I'll find Albert.
What makes you think you can do it? Oakmont is not exactly friendly to new arrivals.
Let's just say I tend to see things that others miss. And anyway, what have you got to lose? Sounds like you could use every man you can get.
Vera. You have a point, newcomer.
Sorry, did you just say Vera? What does that mean?
You had better get used to the Oakmont dialect, outsider. That is, if you want to fit in. It is a fascinating blend. Vera means fine. I was saying, we have a deal.
I see. Thank you. I need to know more about what happened to Albert.
Dane, did you not listen at all? I already told you everything. After leaving on the expedition, Albert was found on the shore in a lifeboat. These fishermen supposedly brought him to their house, and then left to call me. But when I arrived here, my son was nowhere to be seen.
Anything else?
Clearly, something suspicious occurred inside the house. I suggest you stop dawdling and go see for yourself.
Where's the house where this all happened?
For Kay's sake, I thought you were a private eye. Was standing right in front of it.
You mentioned a lifeboat. Is it still around?
Yes. Face the house, then to the left is a beach that borders a fence. You'll find it there.
As much as I'm enjoying the weather, Mr. Throgmorton, it's time for me to get started.
Find my son, newcomer, and be quick about it.
Evidence contains crucial information. Okay, so there are various ways we can manipulate evidence. Hopefully this guy's son is a little bit more tolerable than he is. Perhaps the raving lunacy will actually make him seem more pleasant. Also, I have just noticed he doesn't have a second buttonhole there. Who made that suit, sir? It appears he's been handling something oily. Interesting. This is a nice jacket. It looks like he's got a double barrel. Actually, that might be a repeater. Yeah, it's a some sort of cut down repeater. Cool. This is still considered part of our main case here. Mr. Throgmorton wants us to find his son Albert, who was missing from the port after returning from an expedition to the sea. Let's see here. Throgmorton and the Innsmouthers are in an ongoing feud. What happens when I select that? Looks like we can lock it somehow. That's interesting. Behaves strangely. Oh, so somewhat like in Sherlock Holmes' Crime and Punishments, also by Frogwares, we can compare in our mind palace here, we can compare certain facts we learned to see if we can't deduce anything. And I guess if we actually do find those, they will show up in our deductions screen here.
I've said everything I know.
Don't do anything stupid, newcomer. And keep your hands where I can see them. Don't do anything stupid,
I've
newcomer.
said everything I know.
And keep your hands where I can see them.
I gave you clear instructions, did I not?
Well, since we know where that lifeboat is, let's take a look at that. This is a somewhat awkward shuffle we've got here. Titania.
Where's your Oberon, huh, Titania?
Can't catch a mackerel since those Innsmouthers took over the fishing business.
You like it here, newcomer? Well, get used to it. No one leaves Oakmont nowadays.
Can't catch a mackerel since those Innsmouthers took over the fishing business.
Where's your Oberon, huh, Titania? this helmet gives me chills. What's wrong with it?
Appears to have been covered in green.
Something with this helmet gives
Huh.
me chills. What's wrong with it?
Our green bar in the corner there seems to be going down. Ah, but it goes back up. I'm not sure what that indicates quite yet. He left a will. My name is Albert Throgmorton, and this is my will. I want to warn you, don't go to the depths below Oakmont. There's unreadable. I guess that's better than redacted. Should have ever done that. Everything should have remained in that cave. Professor Unreadable. Guess we'll have to look out for Professor Unreadable as we go along. I fear what will become of me. It's singing in my brain, dancing on my eyelids every time I close my eyes. The cycle goes on and on and on, etc. In the end it comes. I must warn everyone. I must tell my father, Unreadable, he's here. That's not much of a will. We don't know who gets his miniature collection. I guess they didn't have very good waterproof ink at this time, though. Oh my, we can go quite a ways out here. Oh wow, we can actually swim. And we can't get back? Whoa! Looks like our brain meter, I guess that is going down too. Oh, and we're getting grabbed by tentacles. Let's just see what happens. Best to get it out of the way sooner rather than later, I suppose. Well, that was anticlimactic. Ah, it looks like we keep the evidence collected. Yeah, Will is gone.
Where's your Oberon, huh, Titania?
There's his will.
Mr. Throgmorton, I found this in the lifeboat. Looks like it's your son's will.
Give it to me. Oh, my boy, what did you get yourself into? If only I hadn't sent you on that cursed expedition.
This guy's voice actor is making me like his character a lot more than I really should. Although I'm also curious.
There are police everywhere, newcomer. You sure you want to wave that around? There are police everywhere, newcomer. You sure you want to wave that around?
Ah, sir, don't shoot. Put the gun down now.
Bit less trigger happy than modern police, it seems. God, we really could use some eye drops, couldn't we? I do like how efficiently they made Chuck here look all harrowed and everything. Alright, enough messing around. Wonder if that means anything. This is actually quite a nice door. How do we... Oh, you just open it with your face. Huh, that's interesting. He will auto-rotate with the camera, but only if the flashlight is on. Are fish normally dried like this? Wish this camera had a zoom. It's not very efficient filleting there. Oh, it's a laundry wringer. Cool. That looks like an old ice box. Like literally in a box that you would put ice and things to refrigerate in. Something meat factory? I'm sure we'll see that again. Oh look, they even got garlic. Well, I guess at least we don't have to worry about vampires. So I like how detailed and incredibly decrepit they've made the city look so far. But when you have squid matter just sort of extruding from your library wall, that's probably a sign things have gone more than creepy. Let's just dig through these fellas' books. This is a lot of books for some random fisherman too.
The book is damp and damaged, but clearly well cared for.
Oh, I guess we'll just steal some stuff from these fishermen then.
Huh. This dog mat looks better than the owner's bed.
Well, at least they're good, responsible pet owners. What a nice little stove. Wouldn't mind having one of those, honestly. You'll forgive my overly cautious saving habits. I will try my best to break myself out of them, but a little bit unnerved by the city for some reason. Well, that is some nice wallpaper. Heya.
Let's see what you find, newcomer.
This guy also looks like he hasn't slept in quite a while as well.
Let's see what you find, newcomer.
I just noticed the question mark there also kind of looks like a fish hook. That's funny. I think there might be something more going on here than a guy wandering off. Oh, looking at that is making our brain meter drain. Let's just go stand in the corner until our brain juice comes back. Although I wonder if we can just die from staring at that too long. Actually, I just saved, so let's check it out. Get your face right up in there. Yeah, this is taking too long. We'll see if we can't find a more efficient means of psychological damage. Let's just enjoy the view until our brain heals.
There was a fierce fight here, but but someone tried to flee.
Well, I certainly walked all over that. Some very bright blood.
Hello? Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, my head. What? Who are you? Are you police? I've already told them everything.
It's okay. I'm Charles Reed, Private Eye. Mr. Throgmorton hired me to find his son.
Oh, okay. What do you want?
Tell me about yourself.
Name's Will. Will Hammond. I'm a fisherman. We all are. Live here together. Me, poor fellow Paul, Barry, and Innsmouther Lewis Flynn. We moved here after the flood. I worked on the railroad, but the rail ain't kicking anymore, so I started fishing. It was that or starve.
This man has hair parted in the middle. I don't think I can trust him just for that.
I want to know what happened here. Every detail.
I don't remember much. Me, Paul, and Lewis. We were here. This is our house. Barry was outside on his business. Then he came back carrying Throgmorton's son. He was unconscious, barely breathing. Barry left again to call Mr. Robert.
Then what?
We put the guy in Lewis's room. Then he started to make these horrible sounds and... Okay. My head began to burst. And he woke up. And after that, I don't remember a thing. Just dreams. Drowned streets, a sleeping giant, a voice that called me.
That sounds familiar.
Now, this is the second time we've heard of Kay.
Who is this K you keep mentioning?
Outsiders, show some respect. K is our lord, our light, our love.
Sorry, I didn't know. Where are all the other guys?
That's Paul there on the floor. K be with him. Barry's outside with Mr. Throgmorton. Lucky rascal missed everything. And I have no idea where Lewis or Throgmorton's son got to. Starting to suspect the worst.
Lewis was the Innsmouther, huh?
Do you know how Paul died?
I don't know. When I pulled myself together, he was already gone. May have mercy on his soul.
I'll leave you to it. Take care of yourself, Will.
Please, detective, sir, tell me the truth. Could it be me? Did I kill Paul? Or, hey, did I kill him?
I don't know yet, Will. And the police will stop anyone coming in or out of here, so I suggest you just try and get some rest.
I'm afraid of what I might dream.
Will Hammond, fisherman, lives with 3 others. Yeah, so Lewis was the Innsmouther, who is also now missing. Let's see here. Fisherman suffered a sudden psychotic outbreak after Albert Throgmorton regained consciousness. Okay, so we can deduce that Albert somehow made other people become hysteric. I like how we're just sort of inherently assuming that's reasonable.
I still hear those voices.
Let's have a peek around here really quick. least they're well read.
Choo choo.
I'll just steal your alcohol here. Hope you don't mind. I am the protagonist, after all. Bet it gets chilly here, but by the side of that cobweb, doubt they have much reprieve from that. Alright, let's look at the body here.
I can barely recognize the face of the poor fella. He was beaten to a pulp.
So that's Paul, right? Just look out the window until your brain heals.
5 cards short of a full house.
Well, this is interesting. Not quite sure what this is.
I'm surprised they don't have someone's portrait here. Never seen knives like this before. Masterful work.
Wonder if that belonged to the Innsmouther.
Seems like Prohibition hasn't affected Oakmont too much.
Prohibition, so this is, I guess, during the late 1920s.
So, that's what an Innsmouther looks like.
Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye. Whenever you see distortion on the corners of the screen and hear a ringing sound, may reveal images of the past, illusions, omens, or tracks that are otherwise invisible. So the path has an activation zone, see above. Hold left click to see the full picture. So we have some ability to see premonitions. But will those premonitions turn out to be deadly? Okay, so this drains our brain meter while we do it as well. Oh, I see those distortions. But I don't see anything. And I'm clicking. Oh. I wonder if this is our guy. I guess this must have been what he looked like when he was extruding his hysteria all over the cabin. It's generally a bad sign, yeah. Retrocognition. There's a word. To understand events that happened in the past, evidence in the scene, vision will emerge. So now we've got interesting gameplay. Okay, so this is just here now.
What's happening?
Take this, ape face.
Someone tried to shoot him. I guess the ape face was not the one holding the barrel, though. As this is the tutorial, I guess this will be pretty straightforward.
What's happening?
So I guess gent in the long coat here. Okay, so this is a gent in the long coat here. This is Albert. So we have the fisherman with the parted hair out there, and the dead fisherman. And would this be the Innsmouther? The guy in the coat? So he started doing his exorcist thing. People ran out. So I guess this must be the Innsmouther here. Lewis, I think they said, who took a shot at the young Mr. Throgmorton. Well, someone... Oh dear. I think our ailing friend back there might have actually killed that guy.
Take this, ape-face. Yeah, run!
When Albert Throgmorton woke up, he was not himself. He attacked the fishermen, and his hysteria spread to them. When he got wounded, he fled.
Let's just unequip that. Just wait for our brain juice to regenerate here really quick. So I guess we'll just be treating our psychic visions as evidence. Well, I imagine court cases here in Oakmont are not very normal anyways, so can't see anything wrong with that. Okay, so it was Lewis who opened fire. As an Innsmouther, Lewis and his people suffered at the hands of the Throgmortons. That could be reason to hate him. Now, one fisherman is missing, and Albert attacked the fisherman. Fled the scene after the fight in the house. I can track them using my supernatural sense, so that's useful. Mind's Eye can reveal omens that will guide your way. Interesting.
My head. I still hear those voices.
Let's see what you find,
There
newcomer.
was a fierce fight here, but someone tried to flee.
Oh good, that didn't damage us. Thank you, Mr. Invisible Hands Man.
I've said everything I know.
I gave you clear instructions, did I not?
Interesting.
So the fisherman pursued Albert, even let off a few shots.
Fisherman or Fishman? Lewis may have wanted to kill Albert outright because he was a Throgmorton rather than just drive him off. Huh, that's interesting. These light up when we look at them. Huh. Ah, he went up here.
Even though Albert was wounded, he managed to climb that high. Robert wasn't exaggerating when he said he raised him strong.
Well, let's have a look down the pier here anyways. Don't want to get too carried away with our detective work. No, we can actually go here. Sort of. Nothing to find. Do wonder who is keeping these barrels lit, though. See, another perfectly good giant octopus just left to rot. Honestly, people, have some civic pride.
Join in, newcomer. Praise the sea with us.
Okay, I can see why this would... no reason why this would cause problems at all. Ooh, can we go up here? Nope. There's another H. Huh. A pocket got torn off?
There's something in the pocket.
Blood-stained note. Lewis, please, just give me one more week. I know I owe you, but I'm underwater like everyone else right now. I don't yet have enough stock to operate the bar smoothly with the fuzz snooping about the port. But don't worry, I've struck a nice deal with the proper people and should have a steady supply channel soon. Just one more week and I'll return everything with double interest. So Peter, one of the fishermen, was that the fisherman who died? Was indebted to Lewis, the Innsmouther fisherman. But why would Peter... But why would something of Peter's be here? Wasn't he killed back at the fisherman's hut? Times like this, you need to have a look into your old mind palace. Jackets in with Bud. I found her house where Albert Throgmorton fled. Oh, it was a different one. Oh yeah, it was Paul, not Peter. So this, I guess we're in the back room of a bar here. And Albert Throgmorton fled to this bar while emitting Cthulhu rays, and Lewis the Innsmouther chased him into the bar, over whose owner he apparently has some sway. This probably will not end well. But at least we found booze.
The blood is fresh. Whomever it belongs to could not have got far.
So let's go in the other direction. These symbols seem to indicate places we can interact with or loot. It's an awkward place for a staircase, or is it some sort of ramp, I guess? Can't go anywhere else. Padlocks and weak planks can be broken with a shot or melee attack. How do you melee attack? E, looks like. Oh, so that's what the shovel is for. Does it actually disappear off of our mount? Yeah, it does. Cool. Well. I believe we found Robert Throgmorton. Or Albert, rather.
One fatal round through the forehead. That's no accident. This was deliberate.
Oh, let's not look at the corpse too much. Okay, let's not spend too much time around this pleasant fella here. He seems to be draining my brain juice alarmingly. Actually, let me see if I can't rebind that. To my thumb button. There we go. What's that? Looks like there's still evidence to find over here. Well, let's see if we can report back, or rather, let's see if we can't find the culprit. Okay, I like this a lot. Blackwood Marsh. So Marsh is a reference to the Marsh family, who are key figures in the original Shadow over Innsmouth. Just read it; you'll know it's funny. Okay. Hope I don't have to shoot one of those. Actually, before we spring that, let's see if we can't find any other evidence around here.
It would take tremendous effort to move this thing, let alone tossing it over like this.
There we go. Oh dear, we took damage from that. Oh, the only hit point that matters is the last one, right? Actually, let's save this for when we find the guy. Actually, never mind. Boy, I'm a very uncertain detective here.
Mr. Throgmorton, I'm afraid I have bad news.
No.
Yeah, I found your son in the basement of a nearby warehouse. I'm sorry, but he was murdered. Shot in the head and the body hidden.
No. It cannot be true. No, no, no. don't believe it. No.
My condolences, Mr. Throckmorton. I had hoped for a happier outcome.
Your condolences will not bring him back. So much of our blood spilt for nothing. So much effort in vain. My poor Albert. Tell me you know who did it. I want to look him in the eyes, make him beg for mercy.
I don't know exactly. I have some suspects, but I need to investigate further.
What kind of private eye are you?
A thorough one. When I find him, I'll tell you.
Fine. No one leaves the port until then. Find me that dirtbag and I'll help you with anything you need.
Mr. Throgmorton, I've encountered something,
What? I don't have all day.
some unusual creatures, and they sure weren't friendly.
You've seen a wild beast, Mr. Reed. I'm somewhat surprised to see you still alive. Those unsettling things appeared after the flood. I've commissioned a few studies on them, but we know little more than when we started. They're aggressive, but fortunately not immune to gunfire.
Yeah, I learned that firsthand.
Try to avoid them when possible, and when you can't, keep your weapons handy.
Bye.
I suppose this is the exit that we can't get through.
The port is closed by order of Robert Throgmorton. Back off.
I guess that means Mr. Throgmorton can just straight up command the police. That's interesting.
You look familiar, but old Billy hasn't seen you around. You look familiar, but old Billy hasn't seen you around.
So this is just a straight up derailed train here? Okay. Grim Haven, huh? Let's just push the store open with our face.
Ugh, I'll miss the carpenter's food giveaway with this darn port closure.
Stay alert. Monsters lurk underground. They're everywhere.
Welcome to Under the Keel. What do you want?
I've seen some unsettling creatures around. Like nothing I've ever encountered. What are they?
So you met a wild beast, newcomer. No one knows what they are, but consider yourself lucky to still be in one piece. They arrived in the flood. Some say they come from the sea. Others that they are Kay's punishment for us.
And what do you say?
If it bleeds, you can kill it. Keep your gun handy. And if you want to erase the memory, I sell a perfect cure right here. Remember, better to be a coward and live than brave and dead. Unless you're a newcomer.
I'm looking for a man by the name of Lewis Flynn. Any chance he's here?
Yeah. Even if I knew, I don't rat to newcomers.
As it happens, I know you owe a debt to Mr. Flynn. Trouble is, I found your note near the dead body of Albert Throgmorton, son of Robert. So, it seems Lewis is in trouble. Might have even come here to hide. But you hand him over and he won't be back to collect what you owe. Get me?
Throck. That would explain the blood. Fine. If it gets me out of this mess, you can have him.
So?
He's upstairs. Here's the key. You gotta promise to deal with him, once and for all. But save the shooting for outside, huh?
Smart man. There's your good deed for the day. Bye.
Don't do that again.
Let's just poke around a little bit. I think this might just be the exact same model we keep finding laying around outside, only way smaller. Guess that's an efficient use of your resources there. Up, another repeater. I've been in worse bars than this. And what do you have to say?
Come closer, troubled soul. Let me tell you what your future holds.
You're some kind of, fortune teller?
Yes, my dear, yes. Oh, it's so clear. Your path holds many surprises, newcomer.
Couldn't hurt.
Really? Like what?
Not so fast, newcomer. I see many things. For a small fee, I'll tell you some of them.
Alright, how much? $1?
Your money has no value here, newcomer. After the flood, Oakmonters deal in the practical. Booze, smokes, and bullets. And I'll make it easier for you. I don't smoke.
I've only got 3 of these, but well, it's not like I'm gonna have to shoot anybody in the near future.
Let's hear what my future holds.
Good. Let me focus. The sea will be generous in the coming days. Many gifts delivered, and many will regret partaking.
I don't think I follow.
I see old and new. A hard heart against an iron will. Whoever wins, you win too. But you'll only see that from inside a metal cage. And tall pillars, circled by the dead. A race from one to the next, as time itself laughs.
I don't think we're getting our bullet back.
Thank you. I'll keep that in mind.
You are welcome. I can't wait to see what you do.
You want another bullet?
It's not the day of my death yet. It's not the day of my death yet.
Completely mad.
How about you?
Holster that kid, or you're gonna meet my double barrel.
Oh. Oh dear, that damaged our brain a little bit.
Hey, mister, careful with that.
Let's take a mulligan on that one. Do we have the...
Embrace your fate.
Looks like we've still got the key. I have a feeling that prophecy will make all too much sense in the coming hours. Now this is a very rundown place, but this is a very nice wide staircase here.
What the? Get them! Oh! What the? Get them! Oh!
Must be a bit drafty.
Hey, who are you? What are you doing?
Charles Reed, private investigator. Mr. Throgmorton hired me to find his son Albert, so I think you know why I'm here.
Throg. That darn bartender. It was all that crazy ape's fault. You hear me?
Calm down. I only want to speak, for now. But no, if you reach for your gun, you'll hit the floor faster than you can say poetic justice.
I got nothing to hide.
That is a pretty extreme representation of the Innsmouth look, I think.
Start at the beginning. What happened?
We were in our house, me, Paul, and Will. Barry'd gone to the sea. So I told him that it would only bring bad luck. If he'd listened to me, we'd all still be alive.
Come on, Lewis. Focus.
Right. Well, Barry dragged that damn ape to our house. He was bragging about how much Mr. Throgmorton would give us for saving his son. But that ape, he was out cold. Then woke in an instant and started screaming, attacking us. After that, can't remember a thing.
You shot to kill. No warning, no second chances. You pursued Albert even after he fled. Why?
I can't remember it. When he woke, it was like a bloody mist descended over me. First thing I recall after is that darn warehouse and me covered in blood. I had no idea what happened, though. I suspected it had something to do with that ape. Turns out, I was right.
The things you did to Albert don't look like a bloody rage. A fatal shot to the head, a hidden body. One might start to wonder if it was deliberate.
I don't know what to say. I wasn't myself.
What kind of... why do you... your face, it's,
Oh, so you're here to attack me just because I look different to you? Want to spit on me, whisper to your friends? What's new?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't know how to ask. I've just never met someone like you before. I didn't mean any offense.
Innsmouther's bodies were blessed by the sea. You're gonna see a lot of us here, so you better get over it. We are proud of who we are.
I hear there's a bit of a feud between the Innsmouthers and the Throgmortons. Care to fill me in?
Those apes hated us from the moment we arrived in Oakmont. Our home was destroyed. We just needed a place to stay. The Blackwood Grand family sheltered us, but others were not as hospitable. We needed jobs, food, and medicine. The city denied it all.
And so?
We had to fight for every crumb of bread. And those Throgmortons in their high castle only made our life harder. Always conspiring behind our backs. Always setting people against us. I'd love to see them suffer like we suffered.
You're not really doing much for your case there, pal.
You mentioned a grand family. What do you mean?
So you're a newcomer, huh? Explains a lot.
Yeah, a newcomer with a gun. Answer the question.
Okay.
People here are crazy about bloodlines and tradition and reputation. The head honchos of Oakmont are called the Grand Families. There's the Carpenters, who control most of the city's underworld, the Blackwoods, who share kin with Innsmouthers through the Marsh family.
And let me guess, the Throgmortons.
Right, those filthy apes. Now that most of the Blackwoods are gone, there's nobody left to protect us Innsmouthers.
I think I've got all I need.
Please, Mr. Reed, don't tell Throgmorton about me. I know I'm in no position to ask. I didn't want to do whatever it is I did. Honest, have mercy, please. I have a family. Without me, they'll starve.
Now this is actually kind of a dilemma.
This is not exactly cut and dry. I need some time to think.
Perhaps I can offer something to grease your grinds. I still have a few bullets on me.
You think you're the first person to offer me a bribe?
Please, Mr. Reed.
Don't try my patience further, Mr. Flynn.
That he was at the crime scene, but he can't remember how exactly he killed Albert Throgmorton. Claims he was under mental influence, just like the other fishermen. But when we were looking into the past there, he was one of the people who spoke, and he didn't really sound like he was berserk. Well, as is generally my wont, I'm just going to do some quick internet research here. So it sounds like the decisions you make in this game don't change that much in terms of the overall plot. Well, let's say he was mentally afflicted. Well, having read The Shadow over Innsmouth, I have this odd sort of affection for the old fishy Innsmouthers. They really didn't get treated that well, either by the narrative or by the setting. So I suppose we'll side with him in this case.
I tracked the murderer down, but he was attacked by those things prowling the back alleys. And they tore him apart. It was that Innsmouther fisherman, Lewis. He was covered in your son's blood. That may have attracted the beasts.
Are you certain the body is his?
Beyond any doubt. All that's left of him is a heap of flesh and this scrap of cloth. It's from his jacket. Just ask his friends.
Alas. This was my revenge to exact, not some wild beasts. Something must be done about those pests. Still, justice has been served. This isn't closure, but at least I know now the story. Thank you.
Mr. Throgmorton, I hate to press you, but do you think you could help me now?
Yes, you've earned it. Gay to think a newcomer barely off the boat solves a crime the police couldn't, but I digress. Remind me, what brought you to Oakmont?
I think I'm going mad, Mr. Throgmorton. I see things, visions, and I needed to stop. I was drawn here, or guided, or I don't know. But I believe the source of this madness is here, in Oakmont.
You're not wrong, Mr. Reed. An inexplicable hysteria spread through Oakmont after the flood. I funded an expedition to explore recent geological activity that may be responsible.
A geological expedition? I'm not sure I follow.
I have reason to believe the flood and this madness have the same source. As above, so below. So I sent men to find out.
As above, is he a Wiccan? That would be a plot twist.
Do these cases of hysteria involve shared visions as well?
Since the flood, many Oakmonters have had similar nightmares. Indeed, Professor Doe, the expedition leader, complained of them herself.
Waterlogged ruins with unnatural architecture, sleeping giants, drowned streets, and a voice calling from the depths.
Her words exactly. She proposed the expedition, desperately wanting to find the cause.
You mentioned the flood. You think it's more than just a natural disaster?
You weren't here, Mr. Reed. What happened defied scientific explanation.
Has your expedition found anything?
I do not know. Albert was part of it. His passing cannot be coincidence. Why was he alone at the port? And where are the others?
You think your son was killed because the expedition uncovered something?
Is it so hard to believe? I had no news for a week, then Albert, the only one I could trust, comes ashore and is killed.
It does sound suspicious.
Mr. Reed, I want you to find out what's going on. I expect you're as interested in the expedition's results as I am.
If I'm going to look into this, I'll need to know more. Where should I start?
I'll give you the address of the expedition's headquarters and a key.
That's all you can tell me?
Let me be clear, Reed. You do not speak to me like that again.
I'm sorry, Mr. Throgmorton. I just meant the more I know, the better.
I am a busy man. I funded the research, but left all preparations to Professor Doe and Albert. When you've finished, come see me at the Throgmorton family manor. It's in Old Grove. Here, I'll show you.
What about my expenses?
They will be reimbursed after you complete your task. And of course, some compensation for your work here at the port. I'll also include a fair advance in bullets.
Bullets?
The dollar lost its use here, Mr. Reed. After the flood, Oakmont returned to bartering. Bullets mean more than bills.
So, basically, we're now in Fallout, right? Or not Fallout. What's that post-apocalyptic thing where they use bullets? Metro 2033. Well, don't look so glum, chum. We just completed a case. And what did we actually get there? Oh, we got another revolver, another weapon. 4440, that's kind of unusual. So we've got the health kit for health damage and the brain kit for brain damage. Ignore the side effects list. Alright. Huh. It's interesting. You can craft them out of alcohol and coil springs? Well, if you say so. Oh, and it looks like we got ourselves a skill point here. Let's see here. We can either shoot things more efficiently. Build stuff more efficiently. Now, if there are skills that increase the amount of experience points you get, obviously those are priority number one when you're starting the game out. But I have a feeling we'll be needing this too. Private Eye the Sailor, I like that. So probably I'll be boring, get the XP skills first, then the health increaser track first. Oh, and it looks like our brain meter went up there. Looks like Mr. Cryptic has wandered off.
I gave you clear instructions, did I not?
I've said everything I know.
Does anything different happen up here? Well, I took the body away at least. Oh, this came back. Interesting.
Let's see what you find, newcomer.
Does that mean this came back too? Well, at least we won't always be at a dearth for crafting supplies.
Oh. Yeah. Hey. Got a spare bullet, fella? I ain't eaten in days. Oh.
I guess we can't give him.
You want a drink?
The door won't budge.
Guess he barricaded it. At least the audio stayed synced that time. Guess that's one way to get to your hotel room quickly. Let's see what we have here. It's reasonably cozy, all things considered.
Crew of the Cyclops. Semper Fortis, brothers.
My Diary, Part 1. I don't know what exactly sank the USS Cyclops. Only remember the screams and the metal creaking, water filling the deck, and my headache, the worst I've ever had. I found myself among the floating seaweed, drowning. A nearby piece of a boat helped me survive, and reach the shore of a small island. They found me on it later, starving, half-mad, and babbling about the ancient ruins and their denizens. The officials said none of what I had thought I'd seen was real, but my memories are true. My strange powers, gained after that ordeal, prove it. I found something horrible on that island, something old and dark and slithering, and it still haunts me. I guess that'll do it. But hey, you got cool mind powers. Plea for help. Let's see. Dear Mr. Reed, I understand that you are the private eye that caught the murderer in the port. My life is in danger, and I cannot trust anyone in the city. Please come to my room, which is just opposite yours. I am in despair. My studies have drawn the attention of vile forces. I know that feeling. They stalk me and will take me soon. I have cast my lot, and I am beyond saving. But the 7 books must be saved at any cost. Even if I'm gone, find my notes there. This knowledge must not be lost, as it could be our kind's last hope for enlightenment. Please be the bearer of this light, for I have failed. Well, at least we'll not be short of work while we're here. Laudanum. Just opium dissolved in alcohol, basically. Devilfish and Sons Pharmacy Company.
No matter how much of this I chug down, the visions always return. No matter how much of this I chug down, the visions always return.
It's a neat little alarm clock there. Oh, hey. Okay, so we can do a variant of ourselves without the backpack. That's cool. Oh yeah, now we're getting somewhere. I don't think we want to wander around outside in our shirt sleeves. But that looks proper and cozy. That's cool too. Gonna have to look out for that one. That's pretty good. Oh, that's also all yellow. And it's called King's Robes. So this is the one our patron was wearing too. Guess we'll inherit his title at some point? We'll see. Well, that's pretty neat. Like the glasses on that one. Well, that's probably the most practical. Will blend in, definitely. Nope. Oh, man. Okay, let's probably gonna go with this one eventually. Oh, that's unlocked by DLC. Let's have a look at what we seem like in this. I don't like that the flashlight is just sort of stuck there. Maybe we can assume there's a buttonhole he's got it in or something. I like the gloves too. Oh, what's this? What is this?
Never again, they say.
Oh, is that his dog tag? Now let's switch to something nicer looking. I'm probably too clean for this town. Oh, we've got a letter. Mr. Reed, you were a rare example of a man who treated one of my kind humanely, and I feel I have to repay the debt to you. Take this as a friendly piece of advice. Run. Save your life and leave this Drocht city to the depths. Don't dig into its secrets, for they are not worth it. There's nothing good left here. I believe you can find a way to escape. Heed my words. Lewis Flynn. But when we tried to swim out of the city, we got attacked by eels, so I guess there's really no reason we shouldn't just keep continuing. I have had worse hotel rooms than this. Well, I think this is a good stopping place for the time being. had a good introduction to the city of Oakmont here, and got to know Chuck a bit here, though he seems so far like a pretty generic, harrowed investigator of the Cthulhu mythos. I'm sure things will go well for him in the end, though. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I hope to get a nicer new microphone in soon. I'll be practicing my diction. And yeah, have big hopes for these streams in the future. Don't really have a schedule figured out so far, but right now I'm hoping I could stream pretty much every day, every other day. So, until we meet again, I hope you have a